Okay, I hope I'm audible to all students who are attending this lecture of public economics. We continue with our lectures on theories of the public sector. Okay, we continue with our lectures on theories of the public sector, and the book I prefer to follow for my lectures on theories of the public sector, this is Hendricks and Miles. Hendricks and Miles. Okay, now all students can recall that in the previous lecture of theories of the public sector, we were doing the ratchet effect. We had also looked at the political model for the public good expenditure in the previous lecture, the provision of the public good using the political model. Okay, now in this particular lecture, we intend to look at another model, very important model called the bureaucracy. Okay, so again, we dig deeper into this model to see what should be the optimum size of the public good or the optimum size of the public sector. Okay, so the theoretical analysis of bureaucracy starts with the assumption that bureaucrats are indeed motivated by maximization of their private utilities. So the key assumption behind the bureaucracy model is that the major aim or the principal aim of a bureaucrat is to maximize its private utilities. Okay, if they could, they would turn the power and influence that their positions give them into income. Okay, if the bureaucrats could actually do that, they would be using their power, their political power, to convert these private utilities into income. But due to the nature of their role, they face difficulties in achieving this. Unlike similarly positioned individuals working in the private sector, they cannot exploit the market to raise income. After all, students, all of us know a bureaucrat is a public servant. Okay, and the public servant cannot exploit the market to earn more income as compared to someone who is working in the private sector. If you are working in the private sector, you can exploit the market to earn more income. But a bureaucrat who is actually a public servant cannot use his power to exploit the market in order to earn more income. So what do the bureaucrat do? Okay, so instead they resort to obtaining utility from pursuing non-pecuniary goals. Now pecuniary means money terms, non-pecuniary means the bureaucrat is going to work in such a way so that he is getting utility from non-pecuniary goals, those goals which do not involve money, but they involve power. Again, the point to understand here is that when you are working in the private sector, you can show your power and you can exploit the market by earning by and thus raising your income. But if you are a bureaucrat, if you are a public servant, you cannot use your power to exploit the market. That means you cannot use your power for pecuniary goals. Pecuniary goals means what? So if I write pecuniary means involving money. Pecuniary means involving money. A bureaucrat cannot use his power to achieve pecuniary goals because that will involve the bureaucrat to exploit the market. But a bureaucrat is a public servant, he cannot do that. So he is going to use his power to achieve private utilities by increasing its size. So look at this, this is a very important paragraph. The bureaucrat can therefore be modeled as aiming to maximize the size of his bureaucracy, size of his bureau, in order to obtain the greatest non-pecuniary benefits. Now, a bureaucrat cannot directly exploit the market and earn profits or earn income. He can indirectly do so by raising the size of his bureau. He can increase the size of his official office, his official work, which is going to give him not pecuniary but non-pecuniary benefits. So it is as a result of this behavior that the size of the government becomes excessive. So this model is going to explain how the maximization objective of a bureaucrat leads to excessive size of the public sector. A bureaucrat cannot directly exploit the market and earn higher income. He can indirectly do so by increasing the size of his bureau or operations, which is not going to give him pecuniary, but it's going to give him non-pecuniary benefits. So students should understand this. It is not always the case that power not only means money. Power not only means money. If you have power, it is also going to give you some non-monetary benefits which money won't be able to give you. So a bureaucrat is going to use his power to achieve the non-pecuniary goals. Unlike a private individual who uses his power to exploit the market and earn higher profits. Okay, so till now what we have understood is the objective of the bureau is what? The objective of a bureaucrat is to increase the size of his bureau. Okay, so now let's look on to the model. Let's go deeper into the model of bureaucracy. Okay, let Y denote the output of the bureau as observed by the government. Okay, Y denotes the output of the bureau as observed by the government. In response to an output Y, the bureau is rewarded by the government with a budget size B as a function of Y. Okay, so Y is the output which the bureau is producing as observed by the government, and whatever output is produced by the bureau, the government is rewarding by the benefit function B of Y. Think of it as the budget size. The government is going to allocate this much amount to the bureau for the output observed by the government. Okay, this budget increases as observed output increases. You would expect the benefit function to be increasing. B dash Y is positive, benefit is positive, but at a decreasing rate. That means the double derivative is negative. So B of Y denotes the budget size. B dash Y tells you as observed output increases, the budget allotted by the government to a particular bureau also increases. That means as a bureau, if I am producing more, the government is going to reward me more. But that reward itself is increasing at a decreasing rate. That means B double dash Y is negative. Marginal cost is positive, C dash Y, and increasing. C double dash Y is also positive. So marginal cost is increasing and convex. Okay. Also, it is assumed that the government does not know this cost structure. Only the bureaucrat fully understands the production process. So when the bureaucrat is producing output level Y, C of Y denotes the cost function. C dash Y denotes the marginal cost, which is positive and increasing. Now, the government cannot directly observe the cost structure of the bureaucrat. Only the bureaucrat knows its own cost structure. So you can imagine that there is asymmetric information because the government completely does not know the cost structure facing the bureaucrat. Only the bureau knows that. Okay. So what restrains the behavior of the bureaucrat is the requirement that the budget received from the government is sufficient to cover the cost of running the bureau. Okay, so clearly you can see what is actually restraining the behavior of the bureaucrat. What is that? It is the requirement that whatever budget it will be received from the government, that budget will be sufficient to cover the cost of running the bureau. Otherwise, you will see that the bureaucrat will never function. The motivation for the bureaucrat to function is that whatever budget the bureaucrat receives from the government, it will be used by the bureaucrat to cover the cost of running its own bureau. Okay, so now if we dig deeper into the optimization on the part of the bureaucrat, the decision problem of the bureaucrat is then to choose the output Y to maximize the budget subject to the requirement that the budget is sufficient to cover the cost. So the objective of the bureaucrat is to maximize the size of the budget subject to the requirement that the budget size is sufficient to cover the cost. So if I come to the whiteboard, I can quickly sum it up on the whiteboard before we start with the optimization first order conditions. If we look at the bureaucracy model, I can quickly write the bullet points we have done till now. If I directly move into the model, Y denotes the output of the bureau. Y denotes the output of the bureau as observed by the government. Okay. B of Y denotes the benefit function. I can say the budget size rewarded by the government to the bureau. You can also think of it as the benefit function to the bureau. Benefit function of the bureau. Okay. Then we have the properties of B of Y. B dash Y is positive plus B double dash Y is negative. That means the budget size is increasing, but at a decreasing rate as Y increases. So I can write as the observed output Y increases, budget size increases, but at a decreasing rate. These are the properties of the function B of Y. Okay. Then we have the function C of Y, which is nothing but the cost function facing the bureau. Cost function facing the bureau for producing the output Y. Again, the characteristics of the function C of Y, C dash Y, which is my marginal cost, is positive, plus the marginal cost is also increasing. So I can say as the observed output increases, the cost function facing the bureau increases at an increasing rate. The cost function facing the bureau increases at an increasing rate. Okay. And then the important point to understand is that only the bureaucrat knows the cost function it faces. The government does not know the cost function. Okay. So now what is the objective of the bureau? So we can write the optimization problem of the bureau is the optimization problem facing the bureau is maximize the budget size subject to the requirement that the cost of the bureau exactly equals the benefit of the bureau. So this is the optimization problem facing the bureau. You need to maximize the budget allocation from the government. The B of Y denotes the size of the budget. Objective is to maximize the size of the budget subject to the condition that the cost is exactly equal to the benefit. B of Y is also the benefit. Cost should be equal to the benefit for the bureau. So we can define the Lagrange function. For optimization, we define the Lagrange function as B of Y plus lambda times B of Y minus C of Y. Okay, where lambda is the Lagrange multiplier. All of us know that. Lambda denotes the Lagrange multiplier. Okay, our first order condition, del L by del Y should be equal to 0 because the objective is to maximize it with respect to Y. So del L by del Y equal to 0 gives us what? It gives us B dash Y plus lambda times B dash Y minus C dash Y is equal to 0. This implies B dash Y plus lambda times B dash Y is equal to lambda times C dash Y, which implies 1 plus lambda times B dash Y is equal to lambda times C dash Y. So what do I get? B dash Y is equal to lambda upon 1 plus lambda times C dash Y. B dash Y is equal to lambda upon 1 plus lambda times C dash Y. So if we look at the optimum condition, so what can I write? I can write, therefore, the optimum output from the perspective of the bureaucrat, the optimum output from the perspective of the bureaucrat is YB, which satisfies the condition, it satisfies the following condition: B dash of YB is equal to lambda upon 1 plus lambda times C dash Y. And then we can write a note that since the Lagrange multiplier lambda is strictly positive, therefore, if you look at this, lambda upon 1 plus lambda will be less than 1. Since lambda is strictly positive, I can write lambda upon 1 plus lambda. This is going to be a fraction. It's going to be less than 1. Okay. Why? Since lambda is less than 1 plus lambda, which implies 0 is less than 1. So lambda upon 1 plus lambda will be less than 1, which implies B dash Y, or I can write simply B dash is less than C dash. If you look at this, guys, since this whole term is less than 1, this will be less than this term. Okay, so now we have found out what happens when the bureaucrat does the optimization. And we have seen that the optimum output from the point of view of the bureaucrat is going to be YB, which satisfies the condition B dash YB, which is your marginal benefit, exactly equals lambda upon 1 plus lambda times C dash YB, which is the marginal cost. If you differentiate the benefit function, you get the marginal benefit. If you differentiate the total cost, you get the marginal cost. Okay, but now let's consider the condition when the government has full information. Okay, so suppose till now it was the case when the government did not have information about the cost of the bureau. So I can write the above model had an implicit assumption. The above model had an implicit assumption that the government is unaware of the cost structure of the bureau. The government is unaware about the cost structure of the bureau. Now, suppose that is not the case. Suppose the government completely knows now that what is the cost structure of the bureau. Now, what is going to be the optimization problem? So if I move forward, if I look at the next case, suppose the government now has full information. Suppose the government now has full information about The cost structure of the bureau. Now the bureau has nothing to hide. The government has full information about the cost structure of the bureau. So now what is going to be the objective? So now, therefore, the optimization problem of the bureau now becomes the optimization problem of the bureau now becomes maximize B of Y minus C of Y. Now, the objective of the bureau is going to be to maximize the benefit. Benefit is captured by the size of the budget allocated by the government to a given bureau minus the cost. And the objective is to choose the output Y. So remember, you can see how the optimization problem of the bureau has changed. When the government had no idea about the cost structure of the bureau, the objective of the bureaucrat was to maximize its benefit, subject to its benefit being equal to the cost. Because the bureau will be motivated to function only if the benefit it receives from the government in the form of the budget is exactly meeting its cost. But now when the government has complete idea about the cost structure of the bureau, now you can see the optimization problem of the bureau has changed. Now there is no constraint. Now we only have the objective function. The objective of the bureau is to maximize its profit. Profit is nothing but the benefit of the bureau minus the cost. And now you can look at the first order condition. Differentiate with respect to C. So B dash differentiate with respect to Y. B dash Y minus C dash Y is equal to 0, which implies B dash Y is equal to C dash Y. Suppose this is happening at Y star. Suppose this condition is meeting true at Y star. So we can say clearly at the efficient output level Y star, at the efficient output Y star, the marginal effect of the output on the budget, that is B dash Y star, exactly equals the marginal cost of the output, marginal cost of, or I can say marginal cost facing the bureaucrat, marginal cost facing the bureaucrat, that is C dash Y star. So now when the government has full knowledge about the cost structure of the bureau is going to produce that much output level such that the benefit from producing that output, the marginal benefit from producing that output level exactly equals the marginal cost. Okay, so if I come back to the lecture note, you can clearly see, guys, that if I quickly come back to the lecture note, you can clearly see this from the lecture note. So you can see that this was the optimization problem of the bureaucrat when the government had no idea about the cost structure. The objective of the bureaucrat was to maximize its benefits subject to the constraint that the benefit exactly equals the cost. And we had this condition B dash YB. The optimum output from the perspective of the bureaucrat is YB, which satisfies the condition B dash YB is equal to lambda upon 1 plus lambda times C dash YB. And since our Lagrangian multiplier lambda is positive, you can see that B dash is less than C dash. But if we consider the case when the government has complete information about the cost structure, in this case, the objective of the bureaucrat is to maximize the benefit minus the cost. Now you can see that the efficient level of output is Y star, where the marginal benefit exactly equals the marginal cost. You can clearly look at the diagram. In the diagram, you can see output is measured on the horizontal axis, which is denoted by Y, and the marginal benefit and marginal cost are shown on the vertical axis. Clearly, if all of you remember the sign, B dash Y is negative. Okay. If I draw the B dash Y curve, what was B dash Y? you can see that b dash y is positive and its double derivative is negative. That means it is a downward sloping curve. You can clearly see your b dash y is a downward sloping curve because the derivative of b dash y is negative. What's the derivative of b dash y? Guys, if I have to plot the b dash y curve, I will look at the slope of b dash y. The slope of b dash y is nothing but b double dash y, which is negative in our model. So my b dash y curve is downward sloping, as you can see in the diagram. Similarly, my c dash y is positive. If I look at the slope of c dash y, it is c double dash y, which is also positive. In the model, we have said that marginal cost is positive and increasing. So if I plot the c dash y curve, the slope of the c dash y curve is c double dash y, which is positive. So my c dash y curve is upward sloping. Clearly, the efficient level of output is given by y star, where you can see that b dash y is exactly equal to c dash y. So clearly, the above diagram indicates the increasing marginal cost and declining marginal benefit curves. Okay. The benefit output y star occurs at the intersection of these curves. Okay. The optimum or the efficient level of output of the bureaucrat is given by the intersection of both these curves. In contrast, the output chosen by the bureaucrat satisfies b dash yb less than c dash yb. So it must lie to the right of y star. If you come to the right of y star, okay, clearly you can see that to the right of y stars, b dash y is less than c dash y. Take any point to the right of y star. Think of this as yb. You can see at yb, you can clearly see that your b dash yb is less than c dash y. And you can see b dash y star is equal to c dash y star at y star. So what do we learn? If you leave the optimization problem to the bureaucrat, it is going to lead to excessive government or excessive size or excessive output. You can clearly see the bureaucrat, like the private individual, is not exploiting the market by making more money. He can't do that. He's a public servant. But he can use his power to increase its own size. Size of the bureau is captured by the output. He can use his power to increase the size of the bureau, which is going to give him non-pecuniary or non-monetary benefits. You can clearly see if you leave it to the government is going to produce y star. But if you leave it to the bureaucrat's optimum condition was given by b dash yb equal to lambda upon 1 plus lambda times c dash yb. And since lambda is positive, b dash is less than c dash. In the diagram, guys, you can see b dash less than c dash occurs to the right of y star. Take any value yb to the right of y star. This is my b dash. And this is my c dash. You can clearly see at yb, b dash is less than c dash. So the budget covers costs when the area under the marginal benefit curve equals the area under the marginal cost curve. You can clearly see that whatever budget you are receiving, so the budget covers the cost when the area under the marginal benefit curve. You can see this is your area under the marginal benefit curve. This is the area under the marginal benefit curve, and this is your at y star. This is the area under the marginal benefit curve. This is your area under the marginal cost. Okay, so what do we learn? We learn that at the efficient level of output y star, your benefits are exactly equal to the costs. You can see it geometrically also. Area of A is exactly equal to area B. Okay, so The budget covers the cost when the area under the marginal budget curve equals the area under the marginal cost curve. Okay, so hoping all students have understood this. And you can look at the conclusion. The simple model shows how the pursuit of personal objectives by the bureaucrat can lead to an excessive size of the bureaucracy. You can see that the efficient size was given by Y star, but the bureaucrat's optimum size is given by YB. And in the diagram, you can see YB is greater than Y star. So the excessive size is simply an inefficiency, since the money is spent on bureaus that are not generating sufficiently valuable results. That means if you leave the outcome to the bureaucrat, he is going to exploit his power to increase its own size more than what is required by the efficiency level. If you leave it to the bureaucrat, he is going to use his goddamn power to make sure that the size has gone up above the efficiency level, which is giving non-pecuniary benefits to the bureaucrat. So it's like saying that the bureaucrat directly, like the private individual, cannot exploit the market because he's a public servant, but he can do it indirectly. He can exploit indirectly by using its power to increase its size beyond the efficiency level. Okay, so it was a very interesting model which we have done in the lecture today, okay, called the bureaucracy model, where we have learned how the thinking on the point of view of the bureaucrat can lead to excessive size of bureaucracy than what is required by the efficiency level. Okay, so this is where I intend to stop in this particular lecture. The objective was to discuss with all students the model of bureaucracy. Okay, now in the next lecture, we look at the model of budget setting. We will be looking at the model of budget setting in the next lecture of public economics. So I hope all students have enjoyed this lecture. Any doubt, you can unmute your mic and ask, or call up or mail me your doubts at divineschoolofeconomics@gmail.com. So this is where I stop in this lecture.